Welcome to the next episode of Scared Shitless. Today we have Carine, Toham, Ngoy with us today. She is the owner of, or co-owner, I should
Yes,
say,
co-owner.
co-owner of NCTL Group, which
Correct.
is a Black-owned real estate development company.
Correct.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me.
For sure. I know this conversation is going to be juicy because I've known you for a few years now. And I met your partner, Nikki, a few years ago as well. And I've watched you grow from one deal to another. And now you have this 24-unit land development deal that you are going to be building soon.
This summer, soon, like in a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be focusing more on this project, but I want to know a little bit of your background. So tell me a little bit about who you are and how you came to be a real estate investor.
Thank you. Thank you for, first of all, for inviting me here, Sarah. I was supposed to be here with Nikki, my partner, but that's a handshake. We're coming next time.
Yes.
So who am I? Two main things is that I'm a mom.
Okay.
And I'm an immigrant in Canada. When we moved here in Canada with my husband, and back then we had only 2 kids, we wanted a better life, like any immigrants here coming to Canada. And real estate has always been something, I can't explain it. I think it was something that just God told me that you have to go through that to build something for your family.
Okay.
So as I was trying to land my first job, because as an immigrant, the first thing you want to do, and that's also why we're doing land development, you want to find a stability, a home, a job, so that you can settle your family and then start building something bigger.
Right.
As I was looking for my first job, I was networking a lot, and it happened that I went to a 3-day boot camp real estate.
Okay.
And my mind was just blown away.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2019.
Okay.
2019. I arrived here in Canada summer 2019.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, no, I arrived in January and my family joined in the summer. So I spent almost 6 months alone here trying to settle things for the family. Yes. So I went to that 3 days boot camp and I was like, this is not real.
Okay. That was like the catalyst of like,
oh yeah,
I need to invest in real estate.
Yeah. So before that my husband and I, we had lived for almost 20 years in Europe.
Okay.
Different countries, and we've never owned anything. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. It was just not the right place. We didn't feel it. We had the income, but we just didn't feel like it was the place to buy our family home.
Right.
Then I arrived in Canada and I started networking, and I signed up for that boot camp. We had to take 2 days off from work to go to that boot camp, my husband and I, because I was like, you have to come. I don't know anything about this. You have to come. It's something that we have to. I didn't know why.
Okay.
I didn't know why. Those 3 days changed our life.
That's crazy because a lot of people have this story where it's like either a split second, an hour, a conversation that sort of changes the trajectory of their life. Yeah. I want to go back a little bit. Well, you said you're the one that came here and your husband was with the kids.
Yeah.
How was that decision made that you would come here?
So my husband and I, our background is in IT. Okay, engineering, software, engineering. And back then we were living in London in the UK.
Okay.
We were living in London because we were on our way to Canada.
Ah, okay.
It's like I don't know how long I have to do this, but the short story is we had spent some time in France and we were like, traveling a lot with our work as IT professionals.
Okay.
And we discovered Canada during one of these business trips. And we were like, this is where we're going to go.
Okay.
At some point in our life. This is when we were like 20-ish, very early.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. It's just
kind of like a vision.
Something. Exactly. Back then I didn't know it. It was a vision. I was manifesting that I can live in Canada with my family, because as immigrant, when I came here in my first business trip, I felt like it was a welcoming country for me.
Okay.
That was just a feeling. Then we started doing all the immigration process, and at some point we got the permanent residency. We were in the UK. So we had our 2 girls. They were 4 and almost 2 for the second at that time. The reason I came first is because my husband was already working remotely as an IT developer. So it was easier for him to continue working. He was already like COVID style without COVID.
Okay.
We didn't even know it at that time.
Right.
It was kind of annoying, you know? They were like, I can't go. He was like, I don't even have coffees with my colleagues. He was complaining, but not.
You had no choice at that time.
Exactly.
He was already used to it.
Yeah, he was already used to it. And for me, I was going to the office 5 days a week.
Right.
Pre-COVID. Then we made the decision that because it would be difficult for me to continue to find an employee that would say, yes, you can work remotely from Canada.
Okay.
Different time zone. I would go first, settle a job.
Okay.
And he had already started asking, gouging the company, saying, if I were to move remotely, would that be okay? And they were actually okay.
Okay.
During the process, they say, yeah, no problem, you just continue. But he had to move to change a little bit the status. He wasn't anymore a T4, the equivalent of a T4 employee.
Right.
It was more like self-employed.
Okay.
When we moved to Canada. So that's why I was the first to come, because I didn't have the flexibility of working remotely.
I see.
And luckily, my in-laws at that time were spending a long stay in France.
Okay.
So we ended up in a moment in our life where my husband was located in the UK.
But he moved?
I moved to Canada. My 2 girls were in France with the grandparents.
I see.
That's
your whole family divided.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, it was done it on purpose because we wanted a security for the girls. We now have 3 girls. It was only 2 girls at that time. We wanted a stability.
Okay.
With the grandparents, they had that so that him and we can focus on moving the family together as soon as possible in one place in Canada.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like entrepreneurs always have this story where even before they were an entrepreneur or a real estate investor, because real estate investors are entrepreneurs, they were already kind of living a life that's a little bit different or taking risks that other people maybe wouldn't have. Yeah. So I feel like that was already in your blood to kind of, or in your character, personality to take on real estate investing, because we both know you gotta be a little crazy to be a land developer. That's
an interesting thing, because I remember one of the get-together that I did when I landed in Canada. One of my close friends was kind enough to have me at her place, and I remember we did a get-together with other friends. She introduced me to new friends, and those friends were like, "Oh, so did you come with your family?" I'm like, "Nope." And she, "Oh, so you left your husband?" I'm like, "No, not only my husband."
And my kids.
And my kids. She said, "Oh, how old are they?" I'm like, "They are almost 4 and 2." They were like, "What?
Yeah.
You left a 1-year-old-ish alone somewhere?" I'm like, wow.
She's okay.
First of all, she's okay. She's with grandparents. But second, we built the plan.
Right.
And we have a goal.
Right. It's not just I just left her without a plan for
exactly. And one of the things that my friend, my friend that I was living at her place told me, she's like, you are one of the people that when you came here, I saw you had a plan and you achieved it. She's like, in 3 months, you've achieved something that most people don't in years, because I was prepared, Sarah. Okay. I was ready when I came here. Yeah. I knew what to do.
You had ABC.
Oh yeah, I knew what to do. I knew that coming here, I had to start building a credit so that I can show it to a potential landlord. As I was looking for a job, I knew I had to start networking. I had a plan. Okay. I had planned it like as much as I can remotely. Yes. Okay.
And you started executing as
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So you're here by yourself, and at some point your daughters and your husband, they join. Fast forward to a little bit of when you started really investing in real estate. So when was that, and what did you purchase at first? And actually, most importantly, how? Because a lot of times people want to, but how did you come, an immigrant from another country, you come by yourself, you bring in your family, but then within a certain period of time, we're only in 2025 and you came in 2019. Yeah. So what was your first purchase and how did you purchase it?
Before I answer that question, I have to give you a little bit of context.
Okay.
My husband and I, as IT professional, we had good income.
Okay.
However, back then I didn't know it was called financial independence. We were missing that. Okay. I didn't know it, that it was that we were missing. We had just the feeling that we can't be walking like that forever. We were always looking for something. Now I know, for something that was going to free us up from those.
Yeah, just like financial freedom.
Yes, living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. I didn't know it, but I was searching.
Okay.
I didn't even know what I was searching. At that time, I was searching for something different. So when we come here, I told you that 3 days boot camp, I told we have to go.
Okay.
Luckily, my mom was visiting, so we left her, the girls, for the weekend, and we went to that boot camp. I was listening. I was literally absorbing everything the guy was saying. I was like, oh my God. I think the notes I took that weekend, that was the thing that changed my life.
Which boot camp was it?
It was initiated by Gene Graciosi company. You know those marketing that they do? Gene Graciosi, he's associated with Tony Robbins. And they did something downtown. Okay. But it was not actually, it was just like a advertisement. And another guy came during that event and he advertised it. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I don't remember the name of the academy. That guy actually scammed us when I think about it. Oh, okay. Well, this is why I say.
I see.
After that boot camp, he sold us a mentorship. I think we paid more than $10,000 for a group mentorship. 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah. That's how eager I was.
I see. So you're like
2 months mentorship, group mentorship,
Not even
2 months, once per month. Okay. That's what we paid initially.
Okay.
My husband and I. And it was all virtually because the guy was somewhere in the paradise and his partner was somewhere another in the US. They were teaching us wholesaling with things that were not even in the Canadian context.
I see. Okay.
So here we are trying to wholesale things in the US, coming all the way from Europe.
It doesn't apply.
It doesn't apply. However, the main thing is that they showed us what real estate investing did to their life. They showed us that it's possible to have that thing that I was looking for.
Right. Okay.
So for me, it was like they had that thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't care. They just got my money at that time.
Were you upset?
I was not. I had the money.
Right.
I was not. I was not upset because I was more obsessed by what they could
I
achieve
see.
with real estate investing.
Yes.
I was really focused on that. I'm like, how do they do it? Then
It's interesting what you said because you paid 10,000
Yeah.
for 2 months.
Group mentorship.
Yes, not even
That's
one-on-one. Group. And you're saying that it's more the vision that they showed you, the fact that it was possible
Yes.
to do it. And sometimes I see people, they don't want to spend $2,000.
I know.
And I want to point out the importance. I know that not all mentorship are created equal, and you do want to get value for your money. But at some point, in order to go where you want to go, you do have to get the knowledge for somebody who has it.
You do.
Right? And their time is limited, so you have to pay for it, right?
You do.
So that's very much a key component in growth. In success too, but
Absolutely.
mainly in growth in order to be successful.
Yes.
And I mean, you can attest to that.
Oh yeah, those guys inspired me. It's a 10K well spent. I shouldn't even call it a scam. It was 10K well spent because they inspired us to want to. First of all, they acknowledged the thing that we were looking for.
Okay.
When I say we didn't know what we knew it was not enough to have a job.
I see.
But we didn't know that what we were looking for was financial independence, was you do whatever you want, when you want, wherever you want. Because money is not the problem.
Right.
We didn't know.
Okay.
And those guys showed us that, yes,
this is what you're looking for.
We are not crazy. This is what you're looking for. And at that point, we're like, okay, we certainly didn't get much from them. Now, let's look for more.
Okay.
At that point, Tony, my husband, is like, okay, do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue
working
my IT job. He's very supportive. He's always been. He's like, but I see that you have the passion more than me. Do it.
Okay.
I started browsing everything on the web.
Okay.
Everything, any webinar, anything that was free at that point, because I didn't even know paying for a mentorship or coaching program more than those 10K was something possible. It was something very common.
Okay.
So I went to all kind of Facebook groups, networking. I would always go on networking. I was really open to what people were doing. I wanted to know, it was a new country for me. As I was learning about the culture, everything in the country, about the country, I was also focusing on things that was real estate investing, because I had seen what it could do.
Okay.
And really the key turning point for me now, I'm in this group. It's what was it? What's the name? Something investor. There's a lot of investor networking group on Facebook. And a guy started talking about, there is this mentorship coaching that we're offering. And if you really want to be a pro in real estate investing, please find a mentor, find a coach. And I'm like, so it's really a thing, eh? To have a coach. Honestly, from where I came in Europe, it was like only those big VIP people have coaches and mentor. It was a big word, mentor and coaches. So I wasn't like, can I have a mentor and a coach just for me? That's why the group thing for me made sense. Right? I was like, okay, it's just for small people like us, it's group coaching.
So you're thinking, it's almost like you're thinking, nobody's gonna coach me one-on-one because I'm not already, at a high level.
Exactly.
If you think of, I don't know, Michael Jordan, you're like, okay, he
has a mentor, one to multiple ones.
Exactly. But me, and it's interesting the mindset that we have, how it can so limit us.
Yes.
And once you just have that shift, nothing really changed in your world. Like you didn't get higher in your real estate, in your entrepreneurship, in your real estate journey? You just
No, I was nobody.
differently?
I was there. I was just on a Facebook group and someone was posting about getting a mentor and a coach. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
So anybody can get a mentor and a coach?
Like,
Not just Michael Jordan?
Right.
So, yeah. Then I mustered all my courage
Okay.
to make a post. I'm looking for a mentor and a coach.
Okay.
Oh
And
my God.
How did that feel?
Scary. Scary because
Right.
imagine,
Yeah.
I'm thinking only Michael Jordan has a
Yes.
coach, deserves
Like,
a coach
who's
and a
gonna
mentor.
wanna-
Who's
yeah.
gonna reply?
Right.
I'm not even Canadian. So I'm there, I'm like, I posted. And then someone reached out. The right person.
Good.
I was fortunate enough,
to have the right
to
person.
have the right person. He reached out to me and the rest is history.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, is it more? Do you think you acquired that much more knowledge in order to get your first real estate investment, or is it a switch of thinking? So I'll give you an example, or not necessarily a switch of thinking, but also like a switch in your finances. Because I know for my husband and I, when we bought our first real estate investment property, we just started looking at money differently. It's not that we all of a sudden we're like, we saved and saved. We're like, oh, you can use a line of credit. You can raise capital. It was kind of a switch in our mindset about how to go about it. So what did you learn that made you be able to purchase your first property? Or did you save your way to your first property?
I think one thing this is me looking back. One thing I'm a natural on is multiplying money. So I'm originally from Cameroon in Central Africa. There are tribes in that country. The tribe I come from, they are known for know how to multiply money.
Okay.
It's like a cliche.
Okay.
So I think it's a cliche. Like they are known for, compared to other tribes, they will receive the T4 income and they will try and always multiply it by doing any kind of business.
I see.
Whether it's selling goods or doing bigger things.
Right.
Okay? So I think, and my mom was an entrepreneur too, but I didn't know she was an entrepreneur. Okay, she will always do travel, import goods, fashion goods for women in Africa, and they'll buy it, and she would multiply money that way. She will make profit. So for me, I think it was common sense that you have to multiply your money in a certain way. It's just that I didn't know how far you can take that game.
I see.
That you can really do it 10 plus.
Right.
10x, like really be creative.
Okay.
So then when I discover real estate investing, I'm like, oh, actually, it makes sense. It's a way of buying my property, my own home. I believe in the value of an asset like a building.
Right.
And I can, my idea was like, I can buy a property, rent it out and get a profit. And that's it. Like most people, right?
Yes.
I mean, most people who think they want to invest their money. That was it. I wasn't against, I was not afraid of saying I would take a mortgage.
Right.
I understood the principle of having to do it with a mortgage because I can't be saving. I don't have a lifetime to save the money to buy a property.
Right.
So for our first deal, we went to a broker.
Okay.
A lender broker. I didn't know about mortgage broker back then.
Okay.
My first deal, that one was like, how can I put that?
Be truthful.
I was not
raw.
educated.
Okay.
I didn't know there was realtor.
Okay.
I didn't know there were mortgage broker. So I went to my friend that I was living at her place, and I say, hey, you know, how can I do to buy something to rent out?
Right.
She's like, oh, I know someone. He does. He will show you property. Okay, then I go and I see the guy. He shows me the property. Oh, can I rent it out? Oh, okay. Is it good looking?
Okay.
Good looking. I like it. Okay, so I'm talking to the guy. I'm like, how do I get a loan? He's like, oh, I know someone at Scotia. Okay, let's go. We go to that lady at Scotia. I have good income. What do you think?
Yes.
Newcomer, good credit score. Bam, I get the loan. That was a fourplex.
That was a 4 year.
Fourplex in
So did you get? Oh, go ahead. 2019. Did you get a loan for
2020? Sorry, 1 year after. Yeah.
Did you get a loan for just the mortgage, or what about the down payment?
We had the down payment.
You had the down payment.
So she did something about the cashback, if I remember. We had the down payment, and she helped us with some cashback, but we had mostly of the down payment, because when you immigrate, you have to have some funds saved, right?
Yes,
so we had funds, and one thing I knew is that my funds should not sleep at the bank.
Right.
That was one thing I was not happy about. I was like, nope, that money is not working at the bank. I need to do something with it. So we had most of the down payment, and we had a good deal at the bank, because we had it was the perfect file.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your first property is a 4
But it was
unit.
not cash flowing.
Was it in Ottawa?
It was in Buckingham, in Quebec.
Okay.
In the Gatineau region.
Yes.
When I say it was not cash flowing, thank God we never had to do any cash call, because it was a recent property.
I see.
The rent was covering I had the common sense at least to know that the rent needs to cover the mortgage.
Yes.
I didn't think about the property taxes or the insurance, but it was covering that. However, I didn't have any provision for maintenance, repair, nothing. I didn't have any reserve funds. However, from my point of view at that point, it was covering mortgage. So it was cash flowing. I had a profit. It was not cash flowing.
I see.
Because that's the first thing I learned. I learned when I got my mentor then. I bought that before I got the mentor. And then the first thing he did, was, oh, can we do the analysis of our profit? I'm like, proudly owner of these four units. He's like, how do you have this? I'm like, what do you mean? Do I need my property is recent. Why do I need for maintenance, repair, property? He's like, wow, what if this happened? I'm like, okay. And then we run the numbers, like, it's not cash flowing. I'm like, but I'm not putting money in any month. He's like, it's not cash flowing.
Okay.
You see, right? So yeah, it was not cash flowing.
Do you regret buying it now that you knew that it wasn't cash flowing?
Not at all. It made me money.
I love it.
I made money, Sarah, because...
Do you still own it?
No.
No. Okay, you sold it.
We bought those 4 units in 2020. So 1 year, we arrived here in 2019. 1 year after, in 2020, we bought them. And then I make the post asking for a mentor coach. I joined my program, my real estate investing academy in September in 2020 after I bought. So we bought the property in like August. I joined the program in September.
Okay.
And my mentor is like, it's not cash flowing. I'm like, okay, so what do we do?
Yeah.
You know, you get all the education, and then I started thinking like an investor, an educated investor. We planned the sale. We waited 1 year so that there was, I think it was something about the capital gain if we were to keep it 1 year back then. I can't remember the law. There was something with the taxes.
I think it would be considered a flip.
Yes, I think it was, if we had sold it less than a year,
yes,
it would be considered a flip. Because I remember the one thing that realtor guy said, he said, you know what? I went to the same realtor. I say, you know the market. I want to sell this. And the property was a good property if I had bought it at the lower, because it was a recent, like I say, I never had a cash call. Even the year that we kept it again, we never had a cash call. It was a really good property, just that we bought it at a high price.
I see.
So yeah, I remember that realtor saying, oh, we're going to put it for sale, but the closing, we're going to put it like one day after your 1 year anniversary. Something like that. So that's how we sold that property. We make really good money.
Well, there you
really
go.
Good, because it was pre-COVID, remember?
Yes.
It was like really good money without even knowing.
I absolutely love the story, because I know people who hesitate so much because they don't have all the information.
Yeah.
And then it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years. They put something on their contract. They're like, no, maybe it's not the perfect one. But sometimes just going for it, and I'm not saying go and buy anything without any information, but you don't always need all the information.
No, you don't.
And you can still win, right? You weren't cash flowing, but you made good money on the sale.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I want that to be a lesson to anybody who's starting out.
Yes.
To not always wait for the right time, to not always just sit and think. I always say, make your decision with no more than 70% of the information.
Yes.
Because anything above that, you're really just stalling.
Yes.
Right? It's
absolutely.
analysis paralysis.
Absolutely.
So I love that you went for it.
And that's an amazing lesson, because if you think about it, this is us being in Canada for less than a year.
That's
even
crazy.
even if we came prepared, I didn't know about mortgage broker and realtor. But guess what? Because we were in that deal, dealing with real life challenges.
Right.
I learned what a realtor was.
Yeah.
I learned that I could have gone elsewhere than Scotiabank.
Yes.
Actually, I could have gone to a mortgage broker. We could have done that for free.
Right.
I learned that. I was like, what?
I know.
Okay. So then my mind is open to other possibilities, because I'm facing a real life situation with that deal.
Right.
So definitely there is nothing ever like actually doing it, being in the field to learn.
Yes.
Oh
100%.
yeah. I already had multiple mortgage brokers, multiple realtors, at least to start with. Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So taking action, you learn more than if you sat on a sideline.
Absolutely.
Analyzing.
Absolutely.
So how long did it take you from this 4 unit to a 24 unit land development deal? Giving it just a kind of how long between those two?
So we sold it 2021. Okay, so technically, this is a 2020, this is 25, 2023. So 2021 to 2023 was that?
2 years.
2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
2 years.
To go to 20, okay, 20 unit more development deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so walk me through why you decided to go for a property where you knew you could develop it rather than just buying it, for what it was.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go for that type of real estate investing?
That journey, you say 2 years, but it's 2 intense years.
For the acquisition?
No, but to get, so when I say 2023, that's when we acquired the land that we're going to build now in 2025.
So you acquired the land in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually,
how did I get from my 4 unit to the acquiring that land in 2023? That's probably a long story.
Okay.
Do you want to?
Okay. Actually, let me ask a more specific question. In between,
Yeah.
did you do other deals?
Yes, I did.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, how many? Like, how many other properties did you either buy, flip?
I'm going to give you a more detailed answers.
Okay.
And give you the number. We're going to count the deal together. When I sell the 4 units,
Yep.
remember, I buy the 4 units in August and I start my education in September.
Right.
So I'm like a different person from
Right.
a mindset at that point. When I sell it in a year, I already have a plan
Right.
to spend the money, the profit.
I see.
So now for me, it was like I'm late.
I see.
When I sell the property, I'm like, I'm late in this game. So I need to speed things up. I learned about almost any or every strategy that those guys at that academy was teaching, because I had pinpointed the thing that I was missing.
Okay.
For my financial independence, right? And I started doing rent to own as a strategy.
Okay.
I did 3 deals.
Okay.
In like 1 year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay.
In the meantime, I was also looking at doing a potential flip. I had put offers.
Right.
My goal was like, so that money that I actually got from the profit, I should multiply it even more. So I think you would say I closed on 3 deals in those 2 years without the 24 units.
Right.
And I had maybe other 3 on the contract that I had to let go because the seller didn't agree on the price or whatever. But I was really active, like constantly looking for that deal on my strategy. And what brings me to the deal that's going to be the 24 units is actually I was looking for a property for a potential flip. Okay. So I was looking for single family downtown Ottawa, because remember, this is almost 2022 is, we're just out of the pandemic, and you know how it's been very wonderful, right? With the prices. So I'm like, woo, flip is something to multiply the money again. And I go to that property with, back then my power team is different. I have found a good realtor. He knows what I'm looking for. Different person, like I say, different power team member working with me. We get to that property, Sarah. It's funny. I remember that day. We visited, it was a tear down. It was a tear down. That's my first, that property gets me to the 23 unit. That's why I'm going. The first one. Yes. It's a tear down. So you're thinking you're going to flip it? I'm thinking I'm visiting that single family tear down to flip it. Okay. Okay? My realtor is like, oh, okay, flipping. Well, I'm not sure you're going to get your money, but you can certainly redevelop it. You tear it down and you build again. And I'm like, I see. Another conversation that changes your mindset. No, I'm not there yet. Okay. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? Okay. I'm going to build something? No, I'm looking for flipping. Leave me alone. What are you saying? And he's there on Geo Ottawa checking the zoning. I'm like, what is he talking about? And he shows me Geo Ottawa on his phone. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? This is Chinese or whatever, gibberish, right? I'm like, ooh, please, let's focus on what we came here for, the flips. Yes. But that guy, he knew. Okay. And I remember my mentor, so we had the field trip as part of the program. Same time, we visited something at Carlton Place. Ooh, today it would have been the perfect deal. When I look back, the lot was perfect, tear down, Main Street, the perfect deal. He's there. Looking at it, he's like, oh, you can put a multi-unit, 2 building here. And he's doing the architecture. I'm like, what was the lot size on that? Oh, Sarah, I can't remember. You don't remember? I can't remember. Did you end up buying it? No. No, you didn't. It was Main Street. I'm sure you saw that. It was on Main Street of Carlton Place. It was the perfect lot. Okay. Like the city would beg you to develop it. So he takes you to that lot. So we go on a field trip. I'm just saying the 2 events, they happen almost at the same 2 weeks. It's like, oh, you can, instead of, because I'm looking for flips, remember? Right. And they are there telling, you can develop. I'm like, dude, this is too much. It's like, yeah, you can build a multi-unit, 2 building. I'm like, please, don't scare me here. Right. Let's do flips. Let's go find another property because this is too much. I can't. You're overwhelming here. And I joke with him because he's my friend today. I joke with him. I say, you remember that day? And the first time I came up with my 24, he's like, oh, you're doing land development now. Remember that building in Carlton Place? I'm like, yes, I know. You know what? Not all deals are, you didn't run the numbers, so you never know. So going back to that, I'm looking at that house looking to flip it, and he says that, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna buy this to flip.
Okay.
So I buy the house, and I met another coach in land development, a common friend of us at that time, and in another program at the same time.
Okay.
And she says, "Oh, I teach land development, da, 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 da." And we connected.
Right.
And she started explaining again what she does. And like, yeah, you buy mostly residential, da, 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 and the upside is this. I'm like, what? You know, like that 3 days boot camp again. I'm like, I have a property.
Okay.
What?
I
And I start looking at that flip property
differently.
differently.
I see. Is that the one that ended up being a 24 unit, or is it the next one?
In the same street as I'm walking now, because land development, as you know, takes time to get ready for the construction. As I'm walking on that one, I'm passing by, every time I go to the property, I'm passing by the 24 unit, what was going to be the 24 unit property. I'm passing by in the same street,
right?
Like 2 minutes drive, not even 2 minutes walk.
Okay.
So I'm passing by and I'm seeing the sign for sale. You know, you're on the street, you don't randomly for sale. You look, right? You're always looking as a real estate investor. You're like, oh, for sale. Oh, okay. What is that? Okay. And second, oh, for sale. Okay, for sale. Third time, you're like, okay, let me look at the realtor. What is it? You look, oh, okay, nah. And then you're like, oh, another time, you're like, okay, you know what? I have time today. Let's run some numbers. Oh no, the number doesn't make sense. A year.
For the price.
I was not ready yet.
Yes.
It took me a year.
To call or to buy? Yes.
A year to call.
Luckily, it was still on the market.
Yeah, that's because I was driving by. It stays on the market almost for a year.
Okay.
And in that year, some also bylaw change, B23 came into place. And I'm like, oh, that property is still for sale? Okay. And then I run the number, I'm like, oh, so if I were to do this, and we did it together actually.
Right.
Maybe it makes sense. Then I call and I do the walkthrough.
Yes.
It took me a year.
One year to, you know what, sometimes it's not the right time for whatever reason. You don't know why you didn't go for it. And I remember specifically how you negotiated this deal.
It took us, so then Nikki comes in.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Nikki as she was here. I'm pointing, but in a second. But just tell me briefly, what was it listed for and what you bought it for, if you remember it.
I think I remember. It was, so she wanted, I'm doing, because it was 4 buildings. She wanted, the first time it was on the market, it was 525 times 4. What's that? 525 times 4. So 4, that's 2 million,
so
plus
2 million
plus the 2.1.
2.1, yes.
Yes, she wanted 2.1.
And what did you buy it for?
1.4 million.
So you bought it $700,000 less than what it was listed for.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The 24 unit that's going to be built, what is it appraised at?
12.5 million.
12.5 million.
Yeah.
So without talking about the in-between, I know there's other costs associated with the construction and stuff like that, but you're turning a $1.4 million property into a $12 million multi-unit.
Yeah.
Because
family, legacy, whatever.
Because of knowledge.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you found a mentor who taught you to run numbers. You found another one who taught you to look at zoning, et cetera, et cetera. And in the meantime, it's not just the knowledge, but you built your team.
Yes.
You had the realtor.
Yeah.
And also Nikki. At some point. So how does Nikki come into the picture?
So Nikki, we met in 2019 when I posted about looking for a mentor and a coaches. She was also getting a similar education as real estate investor. She was also starting her journey. And we met at the networking event You know, one thing that your mentor or coach will always tell you is that network. Your
Right.
network is your net worth. So
Yes.
that's the first thing you do when you start anything, because that's where you meet those power team members, you meet other potential investors. So we met, Nikki and I, at the beginning of both our journeys at a networking event. And it was meant to be. Without doing the same strategies at that time, we just became friends. So as she was doing her deal, she was in Ottawa, we were meeting, we became friends, we were talking real estate. And one thing that's also important and that kept us together is because when you start that journey, there's a shift of mindset. And that can be very lonely, because
Yes.
your other friends and family, they don't understand.
Yes.
They think you're being scammed. And having a friend like Nikki that was doing the same thing as me, it was really valuable. So we shared.
Right.
We shared and we kept sharing until we met that same coach for land development. At some point, she also was kind of gravitating towards land development new build, and we met again at the right place at the right time for that 24 unit. We met when I was doing that first walkthrough of that 2.1 million deal.
Which she didn't buy.
Oh, by the time
Yes.
I had not buy anything a million before that. So that was another
kind of level for you.
level. I was scared like.
Okay. And so you talk about being scared. So what were you scared of, and what gave you the courage to move forward?
I guess I was scared of the M word, the million.
So million scared
I was like,
you.
million. I looked at so that she was looking for almost, she was looking for more than $1 million for property. I've been buying, single family was like 600K. It's not far from $1 million, but still, it's not $1 million, right?
So crazy.
So that, I don't know. It was probably, again, it's a limiting belief. It was that, because at the end of the day, the bank gives you the loan the same way, right?
and the tenants, well, this is another story, but the tenants is supposed to pay for
Exactly, it's the same thing.
Whether it's zero, that's it.
I guess it's a number that in my mind I was like, oh my God, $1 million. $1 million. And then what gave me the courage is because, again, the mentorship, the coach, that's why they're here. You are a coach yourself, Sarah. Right. They would push you. They would say, why? They would ask me the same thing. Why are you scared of doing a walkthrough? Why?
Exactly.
Why don't you call? And you're like, I don't know. So call.
Yeah.
And then you say, by the time we meet again, you tell me that you've done the walkthrough. I'm like, okay.
You have somebody to keep you accountable.
Exactly. So I called.
That's crazy.
I called.
Just having one person
to
say, hey, do this, even though you know you need to do it.
Yeah.
And the next call, they're going to say, did you do it?
Yeah. and the funny thing is that you pay them to do that, right? You're like, but at the same time, they put you, I guess, the coach or a mentor, they kind of a tool for yourself to face the truth. I was scared. That was just fear. Nothing else. There was no risk for me to walk through the property, to put an offer, because if you put an offer, a proper offer, there's condition to get out. Yes. There was nothing.
There's literally no risk.
Nothing, no excuse.
No risk, except the pen that you use, the ink to sign, and now it's virtual. So
it's not even a pen. Yeah.
It's your
There
clicks.
was no excuse.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went.
And you went and you did the walkthrough.
And Nikki, we were always chatting about what we were doing. So she's like, oh, you're looking at that? Okay, do you mind me tagging? And I'm like, oh, come, please. I'm already scared by myself, so let's go together. Let's go together.
That's interesting. So now you guys form a group, the NCTL Group. What does that stand for?
Nikki, Carine, Tony, and Ngoy.
I see.
Those are our better half.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's your vision? What's the vision for the future to what's next in terms of like, you know, development? Do you want to do more? Like what's next for you guys after this 24 unit?
The vision is to dream big. To dream big and impact people. We want to inspire other people. I've told you my journey. All those limiting beliefs that I had, that I couldn't deserve a mentor, a coach, let alone buy a $1 million property or even build in Canada. We are immigrant. We are Black. It's a Black-led company. And we come from a place where we want to give back.
I see.
Give back what we've received. I felt like Canada was my home even before immigrating here. Nikki has also been on the receiving end with her family when she came here in Canada. The country was very welcoming for her. We want to give back. We want to be able to also share that kindness that we've received, and at the same time give options to other people, to our community to start with, because let's be honest, there is not a lot of Black people in this business.
Absolutely.
Because they probably have the same limiting beliefs that we have.
Right.
So our mission is to build a community with two main objectives. First, provide for our family options that we didn't have, as I would say, naturally. We had to go and look for them. Okay, we want to inspire other family to also see that it's possible. You see how I got my "it's possible"?
Yes.
It cost me a lot. So we want to do that, and we also want to provide affordable. Because again, another limiting belief that we found is that when people hear affordable, they think it's subsidized, they think it's just for low income.
Right.
It can be affordable, decent, nice.
Yes.
This is our mission. It's our mission, and it's very dear to our heart. So our project, we are committed to always have some affordable units in all our projects, and we want to inspire other people to do the same. We want to give back to the community with those units that we're building whilst we're building wealth for our family. This is really our vision. Dream big, because as immigrant, I would never ever imagine that I'll be building 24 units in Canada.
Absolutely. It's almost like just immigrating in Canada is achieving a dream.
Exactly.
So you don't feel like you're worthy of more.
Exactly.
Or that you can go for more. That's
exactly.
amazing. If there was somebody who wanted to start developing land who looked like us, what kind of advice would you give them?
There are so many. I think you have to, I would say, get educated in a certain way. Find someone that does someone who is or does whatever you think you want to do or you cannot do. That dream, that impossible thing, find someone that's doing it.
That's amazing.
Because you want to be inspired. If I was not inspired by that guy, the 10K guy, I would not be here.
I see.
Find someone that's going to talk to you and say, I've done this, I'm doing this, because that is just mind-blowing. It's such an inspiration, because especially if it's the right person, and it's important that it has to be the right person. So do your due diligence when you're looking for an educated program. Make sure it fits your value, even your personality, because a good mentor for you cannot be the best for me, and vice versa, right?
Right.
Find the right person that's doing. So you have to have a role model, someone that's doing something that you're like, wow, I want to be that when I'm an adult, right? Something like that, like kids we do, something like that. And then find a mentor that's already walking that path, that's further from you, right? They are ahead of you,
Right.
and work with them, because you have to be inspired. You have to always have that vision that it's possible, that those goals, those dreams, you are worthy of them. It's possible, so that you can really go for it, because the journey is not easy.
It's not easy,
but it's worth it.
It's worth
it.
Okay. I'm going to finish with one last question.
Yes.
You said the journey is not easy, but it's worth it. What is the biggest challenge that you have encountered, or your biggest nightmare during this process of developing this 24 unit?
One. Okay, let me think. The biggest challenge. There are multiple companies.
And you know what? That's why I think we'll have to have you back.
Yeah, definitely.
And
that time I'm coming back with Nikki, because we have to tell you the story together. I'm probably forgetting things at this point.
But
the biggest challenge is change.
Okay.
Change in navigating changes in general. A land development project takes some time to come to fruition, okay? It's not like a flip where, you have your 6 months or even a year, it's okay to flip the house. Land development, you're navigating so many variables at the same time. Imagine you have all your consultants that you have to manage, you have the city, you have the lenders, you have the neighbors, you have, all of that. And people can change, all things, bylaws or policies can change in a bit, and it's like a domino effect. You have to be strong.
Okay.
You really have to be strong when it happens, because imagine you've already built your plan, you have your strategy, and you're like, okay, this is going to happen, this is, and then, everything is laid on the table, and then someone just flip. I see it like,
actually,
and you're like, oh my God. So it means this is obsolete, this is not valid, this is no. Okay, so are we back to square one after like 6 months of work? Yes.
That's crazy.
So you sit there and you're like, okay, so what do I do? We had multiple days like that, Nikki and I, where we'll be like, okay, so what do we do?
What do we do? And what's
We're like,
next?
okay, let's go sleep tonight, and tomorrow is going to be another day.
Yes.
And then you find a solution.
Okay.
Because at that point you have, it's funny because I was remembering it when I was, we're planning for the closing now. I was like, okay, the journey has been this far. And I was like, okay, the main thing is to believe. But to believe, you have to have that vision. You have to know that it's in line with even yourself as a person. Like I was telling you about our mission, it's in line with what you want to do, because when it's tough, that's the only thing you can hang on to, right? To say, okay, it's a tough day, but I know why I'm doing this.
Right.
I know it. So if it's in line with that, any changes, you can
get over it.
You can
find
over
a solution.
Yeah, because you know why you're doing it.
Absolutely. So having a strong why, you would say, is what got you through.
Yeah, because
those tough
that
times.
was, and I summarize it with changes because we've had so many changes.
Well, you know what? On another episode, I want to hear all the details about those, because I've already heard a couple and I know they're super juicy.
Oh,
that's amazing. Carine,
it's
thank you so much for coming on my podcast and for being the first guest on my podcast.
My honor, for sure. And I'm coming back. We need to tell you the juicy detail.
Absolutely.
And Nikki is gonna be, you're gonna love her.
That's amazing.
We've had days. We've had really,
I know.
But it's worth it.
Yes.
We're looking at doing it again already. We're planning for the next one.
You guys are crazy. And you do have to see it be a little crazy.
Yeah.
if our viewers want to reach out to you and your real estate company firm, how can they do so? What's your social media?
Oh, we are on Instagram and Facebook. The NCTL Group, THENCTL Group.
Okay.
One word on Instagram. That's the main account that we have. We are also on LinkedIn, same thing, NCTL Group. So yeah, we are very active there.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again for having
Thank you,
this
Sarah.
conversation with me. For the viewers, if you want to reach out to Carine, I'm going to put down her social media on the screen so you can reach out to her.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. Don't forget to give me a follow if you are enjoying these episodes, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you, Sarah.